My cousin, 28 female, and I, 27 female, came from a toxic family. So we decided to move together into an apartment 10 years ago when she turned 18 years old and could apply for a credit card and get a credit score, so we could escape our family. And we did it. Well, things turned out the worse for me when my cousin decided to date a much older man, 48 then and 58 now, and both of them kicked me out by tossing all my stuff out, taking away my keys, and even calling the police on me to escort me out of her property, which she was able to successfully do since the apartment was only under her name at the time. So I, a recently turned 18-year-old then, was left homeless. I ended up spending the next 8 years afterward going between homeless and shelters, living off government aid, taking out personal loans which I finally was able to pay off, and working multiple jobs until I was finally able to make enough to afford to get a room of my own. In the meantime, I heard from others that my cousin was mistreated by her now husband, had 2 kids with him, and messed up her credit score so much that she couldn't afford to rent an apartment on her own. This is why a mutual of ours decided to share my number with her, because I'm one of the few people with good enough credit to rent an apartment. She contacted me asking if I could help co-lease with her so she and her children could escape her husband, and that she was sorry for what she'd done in the past, that she was young and stupid, and that she changed a lot over the years. I told her that while I feel bad for her circumstances, I refused to agree to a co-leasing with her because of what she'd done in the past and how it permanently affected the way I see her now. So now I have her friends and family blasting me that I'm an idiot for refusing to help a vulnerable mother of 2 and how I shouldn't hold a 10-year grudge against her when she was a young and impressionable woman back then, and that it was pathetic for me to be acting so childish and not know how to be more empathetic at my age. My friends are telling me that my feelings are valid and that I shouldn't trust her because there's no way to determine if she changed for the better in such a short time. So, am I the idiot? And should I consider talking to her again about whether or not I should lease with her again to help her and her kids? Edit: her friends don't have a good enough credit score to even co-lease an apartment with her, which is why she turned to me. Honey, she kicked you out and put you through a living nightmare. She did so with no remorse or care for what happened to you in the intervening years. She had no contact with you until it suited her. She has given you no basis by which to trust her. Her so-called friends can put her up if she's a changed person. She has no right to call you family after what she did, and no right to ask anything of you. Co-lease with her? You should block her. You are not the idiot. Yeah, if at any time in the past 10 years your cousin had reached out to you with an apology and begged for your forgiveness, I would say that yes, you should consider forgiving her. However, given that she's only reaching out now and claiming to be sorry when she's in desperate need of your help, you are wise not to fall for it. Run from her and anyone who is advocating for her. Even if you'd forgive and forget, you don't have to help her. The truth is, you would be in a vulnerable position. She probably can't afford the rent, she has 2 children, so she will expect your help with them, and if you don't get along, she'll find a way to force you to leave, and whichever friend gave her your contact information is the idiot. This isn't about holding a grudge, it's about protecting yourself. If she needs an out, there are plenty of help organizations that will align a place for her to stay so she can escape. She doesn't need to find a rental to get out. It's a challenging situation for her, but it's not your job to solve the world's problems, and she seems to have brought this on herself. Karma gave her exactly what she deserved. I'm male 31 and married to my wife 30. We have 1 kid, toddler female, and are expecting our 2nd baby. We also have 1 dog who's a small breed and sleeps inside, and 2 cats. Usually I'm the one who takes care of the pets because my wife doesn't like it that much. I clean after them, take the dog out to walk, go outside, brush the cats, clean their litter boxes, etc. My wife only occasionally feeds them. My wife gets irritable during the first months of her pregnancy due to hormones. With our first baby, she claimed she hated video games, so I just stopped playing video games until after our daughter was born. This time, however, she's getting irritated about the pets. She says the dog barks and makes her headache. I told her to just let it go outside if the weather is nice, but she said that pets are my responsibility, so she won't do that. Well, what else can she do? I'm working, so I can't go home and let the dog out whenever she feels like it. She then complained because she opened a can of fish the other day, it turned out to be cat food. Suddenly, I was the one to blame again, although she was the one that made the mistake. She also started talking about how cats or dogs' fur can be dangerous for the baby or herself. This has been going on for weeks, every day. She has a new complaint when I get home. A few days ago, she finally suggested the great idea of finding the cats and the dog a new house because she can't put up with them anymore. I tried just to let it go because I know she's irritated, but she just won't drop it. Yesterday we were arguing because I had to stay an extra hour and a half at work, so I was late for walking the dog, and it was barking a lot, according to her. I'm pretty tired of it by now, so I'm getting angry at her. She told me again to get rid of the pets, but I snapped at her this time. Our argument got worse. She told me I cared more about the pets than about her, and I told her she was right. She never had a health complication related to the pets, and they were with us before our first pregnancy. I think she's ridiculous, and she's trying to get me to be angry and start an argument. I know what I said wasn't ideal, but what else she wanted me to say? Just give in and get rid of our family's pets? It sounds like your wife is struggling and taking her irritability out on you, which is unfair. But you seriously told your pregnant wife you care more about your pets than her. That's an awful thing to say to somebody you're supposed to love and want to spend the rest of your life with. There are many different ways you could have dealt with this situation, and you chose the one that would cause your wife pain. Honestly, I would find that hard to forgive. You are the idiot. Yeah, dude, she's your wife. She's the person you chose to commit to for the rest of your days. She's also the person growing your child in her body, so she should be immensely more important than your pets. His wife is the idiot, a huge idiot. And her pregnancy is not an excuse. She's an adult. Get some therapy and learn to cope. Sheesh. An OP should seriously consider rehoming his wife, not the pets. You are not the idiot. I like how everyone is sticking up for your wife and painting she's a saint, and you're the villain. It seems to me she's literally focusing on anything you like or do. She made you stop playing video games while she was pregnant, and now she wants you to get rid of your pets. All I'm saying is, if these roles were reversed, you would be dubbed the idiot straight away because you're a man, and she would be told red flags, run away, and everything else. She needs help and therapy. So why is her major negative focus on you and everything around you while she's pregnant? I disagree. No one just hates video games. I can guarantee that he ignores or agrees to do certain things pertaining to the house or the children, and then he doesn't do them because of his gaming or walking the dog. When she tries to bring it up again, he deflects or ignores and dismisses her valid points about what he agreed to and the increasing caretaking responsibilities. OP is not managing his time or communication with his wife effectively and is framing it like his wife has some sort of crazy hormonal situation. I guess OP isn't going to go to counseling because it's too expensive, but he doesn't want to be told that he may also be contributing to the breakdown in communication and will need to learn other communication skills. Instead, it's just easier to blame his wife and frame her as a pregnancy crazy. I, female 30, have a young teen niece. Up until a week ago, she still believed in Santa. I asked her parents, my brother and sister-in-law, if she was just pretending to believe still not to make them feel bad or maybe to get more gifts or something, but they were adamant she still believed. Last Christmas Eve, I was at their house for dinner and she kept saying things like, "I'm so excited for Santa to come tonight," telling me everything she'd asked him for and wondering what country he was in at that very moment. She has no younger siblings, so it's not like she was saying this for anyone else's benefit. She's a smart girl, does well in school and has no developmental delays. For whatever reason, she still believed in Santa. Her parents didn't seem to have an issue with it. They said they absolutely did not want to tell her the truth and ruin the magic of Christmas. Plus, they said it was beneficial to them because believing in Santa would encourage her to be good, in the hopes of getting better presents and not getting coal. I love my niece a lot, and after agonizing over this for some time, I felt it might be necessary to tell her the truth if her parents refused. I remember how brutal middle school girls can be. I mean, she had to be the only girl at her school who still believed in Santa. If it somehow got out that she still believed and she got teased or bullied, that could be brutal and awful for her. Wasn't hearing it from her aunt better than some mean girl or guy? So a week ago, I told her the truth. I tried to do it in a gentle way, explaining that what Santa represents, the spirit of Christmas, is very real, but that there wasn't actually a guy with flying reindeer going to every kid's house in one night to deliver presents. She didn't say much and got a bit teary-eyed, but she did reach out to me a few days later and let me know that she appreciated me telling her the truth. Her parents, however, are furious at me and are not talking to me. I feel like I did the right thing, but I know it was against her parents' wishes. Am I the idiot? What are her parents thinking? The kid is messed up if she thinks Santa is real at her age. There was a dude I knew when I was in middle school and some kids found out he thought Santa was real. He was relentlessly bullied. It was terrible. Not the idiot all the way. If anything, you're saving her, and kids can be really mean sometimes. This needs to be said clearly. OP, you are absolutely not the idiot. You were open and honest with your niece and she appreciated it. You were looking out for her when her parents were setting her up to be hurt. Plus, now she knows she can trust you with things she wouldn't tell her parents. How long were the parents going to let her believe this? I can't even imagine how that must feel, like the whole world has been lying to you, except for the relative kind enough to inform her of reality. And I say this as a parent. Sometimes it's okay to overrule parent preferences for the good of the kid. Sometimes a parent who gets so caught up in themselves and their idea of what's best that they lose sight of what's in fact best for the kid. And in cases like that, and cases like this, it's okay as a village to overrule them. I'm 24 male getting married in June, and my dad was supposed to be giving a speech and toast at the reception, something he asked me to do. I said sure. I figured if he wanted to do one, then why not? We weren't really planning any. Then my aunt sent me the speech he'd prepared and it bothered me. He referred to his wife as my mom. She's been my stepmother since I was 8 years old, but I've never called her mom, and that has been a very sore subject between us all because I never gave her a mom place in my heart. Of course, I respect and care for her as my dad's wife and as a nice person, but they always hoped I would see her close to a mom, if not as my second mom since mine died a year before she entered my life. The whole speech was about him and my mom, aka his wife, and how they felt and dreamed about me getting married. The speech touches on how they were lucky to be my parents and how I was lucky to have a mom like her because she's been so amazing. It felt like a dig at me for not showing her that kind of love and appreciation. The mom stuff, and for choosing to do a special dance with my maternal grandma at my wedding instead of my stepmother. Dad found out my aunt had sent it to me and he told me that he needed me to understand why he needed to shine a spotlight on her because she deserved to be honored as a parent of the groom on the wedding day, and I wasn't giving her that recognition. I told him she was not my mom, and the fact that he claimed her as my mom 21 times throughout the speech was a problem. He told me she's my mom in everything but blood. No, she never adopted me, but they don't consider that to matter, and she should get to be called mom at least once when our relationship is discussed. I told him I didn't want that speech read at my wedding. He told me it wasn't my decision. I told him he could no longer make the speech or toast since he would only read that. He's angry and saying I'm being controlled and behaving like a child. He said she deserves better, and he should be able to praise his wife and acknowledge how our family actually is instead of living in the past and what it used to be. Am I the idiot? Mentioning her 21 times. I didn't even mention my bride half that number of times during my groom's speech and still thought I'd overdone it. Not the idiot. First, it's your wedding. That day is about you, not them. Secondly, as a step-parent, a step should never take the place of a parent unless the relationship builds that way naturally and both agree. When it's clearly being imposed on one of the parties, that's never going to work. I never understand these people that try to thrust the step-parent or SO as mom or dad parental relationship on their kids. They always seem to be shocked when a good portion of time it doesn't work and also possibly backfires. Learn to read the room, people, for damn sake. OP, have a trusted friend prepare to cut the mic if he gets anywhere near it. Make sure you have a photo of your birth mom on a memorable table. Please allow your aunt to make a speech if you want. You realize the speech is about his wife, not you. He's selfish and insensitive to what the day is about. Think about how you want the relationship with them to happen going forward. We have dinner with my husband's family at least twice a month, and it's always a very casual affair. However, my brother-in-law is planning to propose to his girlfriend, so his parents said it was okay for him to start bringing her to them. She was nervous about her first family dinner, so they came to our house first, and we would go together to make it easier on her. You could tell she'd put a lot of effort into her outfit, but she was definitely overdressed. I wasn't going to say anything, but she asked me if I wasn't going to change, and I told her nobody ever dressed up for these dinners and she was a little overdressed. I did make it a point to tell her she looked lovely, but she went into panic mode after I told her she was overdressed, as she thought my in-laws were the type of family to dress nicely, even at home, based on how they dress in public and my mother-in-law's personality. I told her it wasn't a big deal, but she wouldn't calm down, and she ended up fighting with my brother-in-law as he hadn't warned her and refusing to go to the dinner. He blamed me because he thought I made her feel unwelcome with my unnecessary comment when I knew how nervous she was. I told him he could have just taken her home to change quickly instead of arguing with her, which has only made him more upset with me. His parents are also unhappy that they never attended dinner, and my brother-in-law keeps trying to get them to blame me for it. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Also, why is she only getting invited to these dinners now? If I were her, I'd feel left out and feel I have to impress. And who cares if she overdressed? She wanted to give a good impression and put effort into it. Who cares? A family is so formal that only engagement-level partners are welcome to these elite gatherings, but so informal that they dress casually for these elite gatherings, but so formal that the casual dress code must be enforced. You are the idiot, OP. So is your toxic family. You told her this right before she was expected at the dinner. This was not helpful at all. It would help if you said you look fine and left it at that. Shouldn't this be everyone's the idiot here? After being told she was overdressed, she flipped out instead of realizing that being overdressed wasn't going to be a problem like being underdressed would be. She was probably fine until she was so overdressed she would appear on a red carpet. Sister-in-law seemed primed for a freak-out, so I think any response aside from, "Yup, I'm going to change now," in a few would cause an issue. She was anxious, and anything that left her standing out was not good, which is really more of sister-in-law's problem. Not the idiot. She was overdressed, trying to make a good first impression, and overreacted due to nerves. I wonder why everyone is attacking you. She asked you a direct question, you gave honest feedback, and she reacted. That's all that happened here. Being overdressed for dinner is no big deal, and you didn't say it was. That she launched after receiving this minor tip is not your fault. You even told her she looked great.